Duly noted. I mean, I think the first response is going to be, who told you could boss me around? You want to get in with me about this? You want to the first response is going to be confrontation, but I don't think it's going to go much farther than that because I think you're not who the bully is looking for. But okay, kids are afraid. But I also think that part of the discomfort of confronting the bully comes from the fact that students don't feel that they have options. They don't know what to do. And I would venture a bet that if I went into classrooms below 3rd grade in the school today and told them, you're walking in the hallway and you hear one RPRY student call another RPRY student a nasty name, and you don't like it and you want them to stop it, and they're teasing them a lot, and you want them to stop, what could you do to make it better? Below 3rd grade, 2 answers they're going to give me? Tell the teacher. Ding, 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 ding. Number 1 answer. I was at recess for 1st and 2nd grade. I told the teachers, let's just put a revolving door. They just keep coming. She did, she made, he made. It's like Tattle City every 2 seconds. Tell the teachers the number 1 answer. And the number 2 answer, what should you do if you want them to stop? Tell the teaser to stop. That's in their simple thinking. Those are the only responses they generate. And then they get smarter. After 3rd grade, we go down to 1 choice. Because after 3rd grade, we don't tell teachers, because tattling is bad and adults are stupid. So we don't talk to them. So after 3rd grade, the only option we have is tell the teaser to stop. Well, I'm an adult. I don't know that I have ever told a bully to stop bullying. I intervene, but I don't know that I've ever used that direct strategy. It doesn't feel comfortable or safe to me. I have other tools, but we have to give students other tools. Before I do that, I want to share video. So I have to just switch here. Is this the right one? Whoops. I just have to sit down for a minute. That will give you an illustration of the, nope, it's the wrong one. We'll give you an illustration of the bystander phenomena. I hope this is the right one.
Wait, I'm class, right? Colorblind? We've seen bullying girl style.
Yeah.
And there are more mean girls to come.
Vertical is the way to go. Fashion, mom.
But now it's the boys' turn. We've rented a school gymnasium and invited a group of teens to show us their sports swagger. They think it's for an NBC News story about boys and athletics. They don't know the gym is rigged with hidden cameras, or that we've hired 2 actors to play the bullies.
You're running like a girl.
The target this time, a teen actor who appears to have no athletic ability.
You're like a little sissy girl.
And unlike with the girls, the bullying will get physical.
Did you get that? Okay, can you throw the ball at the manager?
We know bullying is the exertion of having more power over someone with less.
Thomas Krever is an educator who's been counseling teenage boys, victims and bullies, for years. He says when boys bully, they try to make the target look weak and often use anti-gay slurs, whether the target is gay or not.
What are the types of words you might hear?
Faggot.
Faggot. What else?
Or that's gay.
That's so gay, right? Weak, girly, sissy.
The insults may make you cringe, but our expert says they are all too real.
Those are words that become excellent ammunition to use to exert your power over someone else.
The actors work out bullying scenarios.
Ball. Go get it. Keep it up.
Making it only look violent, keeping Dylan safe.
What's up? Throw it like a man.
To these teens, the real boys, it'll seem as if our target is being subjected to brutal bullying.
You look like a little pansy girl.
Will anyone come to his defense?
My name is Brandon. Hey, I'm Danielle.
My name is Elijah. I'm 14 and I love soccer and track and field.
Elijah's mom says her son knows what's...
In middle school, an older kid was picking on him, pushing him around, taking the snacks, and threatening to beat him up.
She, like all the other parents here, believes the lessons she's taught her son will make a difference.
We grew up in a Christian home, and we have values, and we teach them, to do it the right way.
I'm curious on how he reacts.
Go ahead, you got it.
Daniel's mom admits she has reservations. Malcolm Chisholm, owner of Run, Jump, Lift, a New Jersey gym. He'll play the coach for the day and tell them they're competing to be part of an NBC special.
I'm working with NBC, and we're looking for 3 things here. Teamwork, competitiveness, and swagger. 12 jumping jacks. Ready? Go. Keep going, guys. I'll be right back.
Hidden cameras roll while the parents watch across the hall. The bullies waste no time targeting Dylan.
Let's go! Yo, stop acting like a girl! Keep it going!
And cheering on the real boys.
Yeah.
Watch what he's doing. It's perfect right there.
It's a common bullying technique we saw at work with the girls, getting the bystanders on your side.
What they're really doing now is setting up the dynamics.
You're allowed to make a mistake. Just don't look like that kid over there.
It makes it tougher to stand up to the bullies. Will it work?
Yo, what the hell's wrong with you? Pick it up a notch! Pick it up!
So far, our bystanders are having mixed reactions.
Oh, he is so unhappy. He's so uncomfortable. Look at
Yeah,
him.
he looks very, Daniel looks very uncomfortable. Elijah just looks like he's ignoring them.
Right.
Yeah.
For now, their sons say and do nothing. The coach comes back in
Take a breather.
and sends them to a cafeteria table, another hotspot for bullying.
You gotta pick up your slack, bro. You suck, bro. You're running like a girl.
Watch as Elijah and the other boys look uncomfortable.
I think you're the best, bro. You're better than this faggot over here.
My son's not laughing. He's not. He didn't have too much to say. Look at my son's face. Look at him. Look at his mouth is open.
My son's getting a little upset right now. He doesn't like it.
But still, no one speaks up. The actors start to chant, and the boys all stare at the table.
You look gay when you're out there.
Yeah. I want you guys to line up at the top of the key.
And just like what happens so often in the real world, the bullying stops as soon as the coach walks in.
How we doing, all right?
Yeah.
Let's jump right in.
And resumes the minute the coach leaves. But this time, Elijah has had enough. To his mother's relief, he finally speaks up.
It's good. I caught it. It's fine.
Elijah just said, he's fine. He just caught it. It's good. He's supporting the victim.
Go like a man.
Now that Elijah's spoken up, listen to the other real boys.
Let's go. Positive energy. Come on, guys. Let's keep it going. Come on.
There seems to be a shift in the gym. All 3 boys try to reason with the bullies.
Come on, just leave him alone. We're all a team. We all just gotta work together.
You hear what he just said? He says we all have to work together.
And he's definitely the weakest link.
But just speak, positive words to him.
Yeah, get him going. Get him going.
Oh, there, one of them starts and Brandon jumped in.
Yes.
He'll be fine.
I told you guys to be out.
Watch what Daniel does when our actor victim pretends to cry.
Yeah, there's a crime.
It might look strange, but Thomas says he's distracting the bullies, a helpful move in the heat of the moment.
Daniel deflected, dropped down, changed the subject. That's actually supportive.
So in the end, Elijah took the lead, and it made a difference, just as his mother hoped.
How does that feel?
I'm happy. I'm proud.
Now I go in, but I don't tell them what's going on, at least not right away.
How's it going in here?
Great.
So, you see the nervousness of the parents, hoping that their kids are going to... And there's a version, by the way, if you want to watch it, you can get it online. It's NBC, My Child Would Never. It's that series, the Dateline series, My Child Would Never. And the girls are brutal to each other on a fashion task, and mothers are watching saying, oh my gosh, is my girl going to stand up? And you see how hard it is for them to do the right thing, and how thrilled we are as parents when we have children who have the character to do the right thing. So we have to give them strategies, but we also have to recognize that we can't be Pollyannish. This is hard. There are social, psychological factors that operate against us being caring bystanders. They've been documented in every instance, from the Kitty Genovese murder to the Holocaust. We know that, for example, when you're in a group, responsibility is diluted. It's why nobody called when 37 times, I think, Kitty Genovese was stabbed. It's the famous Martin Niemöller poem, Reverend Martin Niemöller, when they came for the gypsies, I didn't speak up because I wasn't a gypsy. When they came for the socialists, I didn't speak up because I wasn't a socialist. They came for the communists, I didn't speak up, I'm not a communist. They came for the Jews, I'm not a Jew. Then they came for me, there was nobody to speak up anymore. But we know this phenomena acts with children all the time. Then we have the issue of conformity, the famous research done by Solomon Asch after the Holocaust to look at how is it that people will believe propaganda or conform to what other people say. What's the relevance in bullying? If you're walking around in a school building where all day long you hear, don't let Rona sit with us. We don't want Rona on our science fair project. We don't want Rona in Torah Bowl. Leave Rona out. Don't ask Rona. Hey, Rona is terrible. What strength of character does it take to be the person who says, like you saw those boys, come on, talk positive to him? It's really hard if you're hearing that message, and they gave a perfect example of how you break the conformity lock. The minute one person says something different, even if it's wrong, even if it's a distraction, it makes it easier for you to say, wait a minute, I like Rona, she can sit with me. And finally, and I think this social psychology phenomena actually has enormous relevance for our communities, we know that if you watch somebody bullied or belittled over and over again, you dehumanize them. You begin to think they're less than, they're not important. You can even think they're invisible. You make up your bat mitzvah list, and they're not on there. You invite everybody for a slumber party, all the girls in your grade, but that girl gets forgotten. I've actually seen it. It breaks my heart, but I've seen teachers go over their class list and forget a child. You know, they're the invisible children in the classroom where you say, oh, yeah, I forgot her. You know, but it's because for so long. And why do I say this is particularly relevant in our communities? Because if I'm in a large public school with 1,200 students and a student doesn't have a chevra in school, okay, so they can go to Scouts, they can go to Little League, they can go. Where do your students go to Scouts, Little League, camp, weekends? The same place that they do with the kids that they have in school. We're a fairly insular community, so finding a chevra and making a connection and being seen as a valued member of the community is really important here. Some of the strategies, some of the bystander strategies were alluded to in that little clip. Things like using distraction, supporting the victim. You know, you don't ever have to confront a bully. You change the dynamic just by supporting the victim. So you can go indirectly rather than directly. A distraction is my favorite. It happens to me all the time that I'm shopping and I will see a parent bullying a child, usually at the checkout counter, where the child is whining and saying, but I really want that, can I have that gum? And the parent is saying some really, again, wonderful parenting things like, if you don't stop that stupid whining, how many times have I told you, your mouth is just killing me, would you cut out that? And I'm cringing as a child psychologist listening to this, but would I say, excuse me, but that's not good parenting? I would never do that. But if I turn to the mother and I say, where does she get those eyelashes? They are gorgeous. Look at those eyelashes. My gosh, they don't make mascara to give us lashes like that, do they? You know what happens? The mother is all of a sudden doing, I know, my side of the family. I know, we get that on my side. You know, totally changes the dynamic. And if I can't distract the mother, I'll distract the child with peekaboo or engage them in something. I haven't yet gotten arrested for, talking to strange children or engaging parents in the grocery store. But that's an example of distraction, an example of supporting a victim. I was on a plane and one of the passengers was having plane rage to the stewardess and was refusing to put her tray table up and her seat back, and I think she was a little drunk. And I'm already buckled in. We're ready for a landing. My children were with me. So when the stewardess came down the aisle, I just said to her, thank you. Whatever they pay you, it's not near enough. I was supporting the victim. I couldn't do anything about the bullying, but I felt I couldn't, in front of my children, just like turn a blind eye to that. And I heard Rav Twersky years ago give this example, and it changed my behavior ever since, because I was guilty of this before. He said, bullying is about seeing ourselves as somehow better, more powerful, more entitled than others. And he said, how often do we go to the grocery store on a rainy day like this morning? We do our grocery shopping. We unpack all our groceries. We get our children into the car. We're soaking wet. We take our wagon and we push it behind the car next to us. And we leave it for those plebeian serfs to put it away while we, royalty, drive off in our car. He says, what are you teaching your children when you do that? You're communicating in a subtle way, we're better than them. Let them put our wagon away. And I have to say I was guilty of it before. Now I never, ever leave my wagon behind another car, whether my children are with me or not. But those are the ways that we have to think about what lessons are we imparting and what messages are we sending. Effective bully prevention on a school-wide level involves getting everybody on the same page, all the constituents and stakeholders, parents, children, administration, teachers, to not only understand what bullying is, but to share the responsibility for making it different. For knowing we might not have caused the problem, but we're all part of the solution. We are all the bystanders. And what we do sends the message to those children who are bullying, whether they're going to their behavior is going to be greeted with kudos and they're going to be made top dog, or whether that's something we don't like here and we don't celebrate here. I think I talked about this already. Oh, just the last thing, do no harm. It is so hard to work in the area of bullying correctly. It's so easy to do the first thing, especially as a parent. Someone is hurting your child. I'm a mom. Someone's hurting my child. I am lion. I am roar. I'm roaring. I'm going in there. I demand. I want right now. But in the case of bullying, sometimes that's going to make everything worse. If somebody is leaving, it did happen. My 6th grade son was not included in a ball game. Imagine had I gone to the local ball field and said, now listen, you boys, Rona Novick is a wonderful player. I know we rhyme, Yona and Rona. Rona Novick is a wonderful player, and you have to let him play. I don't know that my son would talk to me to this day had I done that, but I know it would not have improved his stature in the pickup game of ball. So as much as you want to do it, you can't always do that which which feels natural and feels like this is what's going to happen. And so my number one rule is always do no harm, is I have to really think through before I ask the school, would it be okay? Before I engage another parent before I speak to my child about, am I clear this isn't going to make the situation worse? And my rule, by the way, about bullying in schools is inform, don't storm the school. Because realize that if you call RPRY or any school and say, my child is being bullied, and I'd like your help in addressing it, it is possible, by the way, that the school is already addressing it. It is possible that they have done 35 things to address it, and they can't tell you. Why can't they tell you? Because if they're managing somebody else's child, that's confidential information. They can't say, well, we gave 2 suspensions and 3 detentions, and we've talked 4 times to that boy or girl in the office. So it may look to you as if, well, why aren't you making this better? But the school might be doing things behind the scenes or in front of the scenes, but they can't tell you, because they can't, in the same way that you wouldn't want information about your child's status in school released to anybody who calls, they can't tell you what they're doing with other children. But the reason I do ask that parents let the school know if a child's having a problem is because children do not necessarily reveal that this is happening to educators. They're a little bit more likely to tell parents. And so there could be a problem going on that is not being addressed because nobody knows about it. So it is important to share that with the school. In general, it's very, very hard to directly say to children, so tell me about the bullying that's going on in school. So tell me, who'd you hurt today? You're not going to get direct answers. So I like to be indirect. I like to start out with a book, with a story, so we went to the movies together. What did you think of that movie? Does that stuff ever happen at your school? Or even better yet, how does that happen at your school? Because they'll all say, no, it doesn't happen at my school, not at my school. Okay, so what does bullying look like at RPRY? Not that it doesn't happen, because I don't believe there's a setting where it doesn't happen. I've already talked about being a good model. I never require 2 children who are having difficulty to directly talk to each other. In several decades of work as a clinical child psychologist, I will tell you that I never cease to be wonderfully surprised by children. They are marvelously unpredictable, and so even if I've coached a child to dutifully apologize to someone, to, even if I've rehearsed, I am terrified that what's going to happen when I put bully and victim together is I'm going to get, sorry, loser. I am really sorry I messed up your stupid birthday party. And so I never, ever put them together for a confrontation. I may have written apology, I may have taped audio, but I never do it in person because I don't want to be party to somebody's feelings being hurt again. Then I feel I lose all my credibility as protector. So I don't do that. I don't expect all adults to share my values. I know that there are, almost every time I speak, somebody comes up to me and says, Dr. Novick, with all due respect, I'm going to solve it. I solved it when I was a kid with this. I've told my son to solve it with this. This is what's going to do. Maybe one of you, I don't know, so one of you gentlemen want to do it, be the token person who comes up tonight and tells me that. It happens, and I have to just say, listen, I'm going to have to agree to disagree, but I will share with you the words of a 7th grade boy. Great wisdom, I thought. I love when I'm working with kids to be a little bit provocative and to challenge them. And this group of 7th grade boys, we're talking about whether it's chicken if you walk away from a fight. And I said, well, I mean, that's the idea. That's what men are told. You gotta stand your ground. You gotta fight, or you're a chicken. And this 7th grade boy says, I think you're chicken if you run away, but if you stand up and walk away, that's a man. And I've thought a lot about it, and I think he's right. And I think that if you were to speak to really good martial arts experts, really sound self-defense gurus, they would tell you that that really good self-defense training is about not engaging in the fight. It's about developing one's restraint and control and self-management to be able to walk away from an opponent. Find examples, positive examples. It's not easy. We live in a culture and a climate where you can be voted off the island, told that you're not the next millionaire, you're not America's great idol or voice or talent, or, and where we don't really celebrate just, people doing their regular jobs and the heroism of people who stand for others and help out others. A few years ago, remember there was a story of the guy who left his own children on the subway platform and dove onto the subway to save someone's life. Do you remember this story? It was a big story in New York. You better believe I was all over that story in every school I was in, saying, I'm not asking you to be heroic like that, but there's a bystander who gave up potentially everything in order to help. All we have to do sometimes is be a little uncomfortable. But at the same time, we can't minimize how difficult it is, how hard it is to really go out of our way to be nice, to think about other people's feelings, to care about the people in our world. I have contact information there, including my blog, and I found a wonderful vehicle, which is free. Parents can use it also, called Storybird. It's an online platform that you can write stories with professional artwork in it. So I love the power of stories with children. So some of mine on bullying are there. But I'll end with a story, then take any questions. The first time I was doing bully prevention in a school, the teacher, a wonderful teacher, asked the 6th graders, would you like to give Dr. Novick some feedback? And I say this every single time I present. So at the end, she said, Dr. Novick, I went home after learning about bullying, and I told my mother I can't listen to her anymore. And I'm like thinking, oh, this is not good. This is really, lawsuits, I'm going to get sued. But she went on to say that my mother always told me that when you see trouble, you stay away from trouble. But I realized after learning about bullying that if I have a friend in trouble and I walk away, what kind of friend am I? And it's better. Because if I see a human being in trouble and I walk away, what kind of human being am I? I want every one of us to have children who say those words to us. I want every one of us to have the wonderful opportunity, the schus and the nachas, to have children who say to us, I am a human being. I don't walk away from other human beings in need. Thank you all so much. I'm open to your comments and questions?
Are you supposed to ignore the bully?
Who's the you?
The victim.
So the victim can firmly, gently stand up to a bully. In other words, the same way that my son said, oh, do that. Thank you so much. The same way my son said, oh yeah, this is some accomplishment. Using humor is great. Self-deprecating humor is the best way. The trick is that you don't want to give the bully the illusion of power. So any response you give that makes it little. Like I'm working with a girl right now who, she can't get this. I'm really trying to get her to get this. The bully walks past her and says, oh, Shira, next time you're going to draw something, maybe you need art lessons. And I'm teaching her the formula that say agree and then make it little. Because anything else gives the bully power. I don't mean, when I say agree, I don't mean, yes, I'm such a terrible artist, isn't it terrible? I mean agree and make it little. Like, laugh it off. Yeah, I know, I wasn't Picasso today. Okay? So I'm trying to teach it to this third grade girl, and what's her response? She says to me, okay, so today I told her, well, it's not my best work. I said, that's not agreeing. That's engaging in a struggle. We agree. I had took a long time to get her to understand the formula. Agree and minimize, not. So the victim can respond in some ways. The trick is not to react in a way that engages the bully in, wow, this is fun, let me do some more. The people we don't want to ignore it and do nothing are the bystanders. Because I don't want to require or depend on every victim being able to stand up for themselves in every instance. Not every child has the wherewithal to do that. Not everyone has witty repartee. Not everybody can come up with the words. Some kids are like deer in headlight, when somebody, so the fact is what the bystander group does is so powerful. Because if again, my son over the garbage pail, if he hadn't said anything, but if a bunch of guys had come over and said, oh, come on, this is no fun, leave him alone, it would have stopped. It would have stopped it cold. Whereas if everybody was saying, do it, do it, do it, do it, they would, the bully gets their power. So yes, the bystanders shouldn't ignore it, and yes, the victim should find a way to respond that isn't giving into the bully saying, oh my gosh, you're so powerful, I'm terrified of you, which is hard. One of the questions that was written in is what do you do when a child comes home and tells you something bad happened to me on the playground? Somebody did something to me. What do I do? What should a parent's response be? So, part of our job as parents is to be a little bit like, the FBI and to engage children in telling you the whole story. Because when a child comes home, I don't know about you, but when my children come in the door and say, somebody was mean to me today, my first question is, and what did you do? I assume that story has a context. I don't assume my children are blameless. That's just me. Or maybe it's my children, just knowing that they can be a little bit bandit, But I want to know the whole story. Now, it's not always easy to get the whole story out of children. There are some children that come home and you get, well, then she said, and then she said, and then she went, and then she went. And you do get the whole story. 30 minutes later, you're still trying to write. And then there are other kids who said, I don't know, he just hit me. So, as best as you can, try to piece together. I would never advise a child, again, to use aggression because it's not allowed and it's going to get your child in trouble. My preference for things that happen when I'm not there is not to directly tell a child what to do because I don't know the setting, but to engage together with the child in problem solving. Well, tell me, what are all the kinds of things that people do on the playground when this happens? Like, who else is there? What do other children do when somebody bothers them on the playground? Is there a teacher? Do they tell the teacher? Well, the teacher doesn't, you'll get this response sometimes, the teacher doesn't do anything, or the teacher tells me to go solve the problem myself. Well, not all adults are the same, so maybe you have to tell a different teacher. Maybe you have to tell somebody after recess. Maybe you have to ask for someone's help before recess. Maybe that's not the person you should play with. I would problem solve around what's the array of options available to us. And then I would when I engage either my own children, children I work with, children in schools, around a collaborative problem solving. I always make an appointment for when we're going to touch base and see how it went. So it might be the next day. It might be, can you come back to me tomorrow and tell me how it went? Or it might be, you want to try that for the next couple of days? And, today's Monday, let's talk on Thursday and see if it was a good idea. Maybe it wasn't a good idea. The reason I do that is twofold. One, it makes everything tentative enough that if I gave a really dumb advice, I can regroup and say, oh, well, you see, we knew that. I wasn't sure it was going to work. Thanks for the feedback. It also communicates that I'm there with you for the time, for the long haul. And it also helps children understand that many of these problems are not fixed overnight. And it does take redo, redo, redo. And here unfortunately, we have TV to thank. Because in TV land, everything is solved in 30 minutes minus 5 for commercials. Every sitcom they watch sets up a social problem in the first 10 to 15 minutes and solves it all, and everybody is all good to go by the end of the credits. And that's not life. Life is much messier. So helping kids understand that is also important. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I try to get to know them, and I realize there's a lot of really interesting people here who I would not have had an opportunity to get to know if I stuck with my normal circle of friends, people I know. And maybe that's something that ought to be modeled, because accounting kids who are excluded from a group just because they may not live in the same part of town where everyone goes to the same school, they may go to a different school, or maybe they live on a different block.
Right. I think it's a really great point. I also think that there's a huge difference and a distinction that we have to accept, allow, and help children understand between going up to somebody in shul and having a conversation with them, which I would put under the category of being friendly, and forced friendship. In other words, I think that it is a school and a parent's right to say to your child, you have to be friendly to the universe of children in your grade. I demand friendly behavior to everybody in your grade. But I don't think we can say, I demand friendship with everyone in your grade. I have a school that I worked with where a parent was actually asking the school, saying, I want child X, you, school, I want you to foster friendship with child X and child Y. We want that. We want you to help us make that friendship. And I said to the school, since when do we, we don't get to decide who the friends are. You can insist on friendly behavior, inclusive behavior, but we do have to realize that friendships have their own, mechanism. Now, that being said, there's a Quaker school near me that is very similar to a day school in that it pulls children from 4 different neighborhoods, easily, 4 mostly, and another 6, small numbers. And when I first was doing some consulting with this Quaker school, Friends Academy, they told me in the nursery program, they have mandated playing areas. Like you have assigned play. You are in the blocks with Ethel. You are in the truck area today 4 days a week. Your play and your lunch partners are assigned for kindergarten and nursery school. Only on Friday do you have free play. And I thought, boy, these Quakers are rigid. like, boy, are they tough, so Germanic and rigid. And what they said to me was, if we don't integrate our children in kindergarten and first grade and break down the barriers of neighborhood, they will be in 4 separate groups by 12th grade. They're a K through 12 school, preschool through 12. Said we have to get them familiar with each other, because the mommies won't. The mommies are, the mommies from one town go to the same pool and the same club and the library, and so and to some extent where we live, that's not exclusionary. It's where your taxes allow you. Like, I can't go to a different library. I can only go to my town library. So those are the natural groupings of these moms and kids, and we have to break the barriers. So I think schools can think about, and I think schools do it in terms of Shabbatons and programming on holidays and all different things that take kids out of their environment and say you have to be friendly with everyone, trips and things like that. As well as, I will say, working with the teachers today, I found the teachers in the school quite sensitive to the issues of when group projects are assigned, when teams are made, when being aware of the fact of doing it in a way that didn't allow someone to feel left out. Is it 100% successful? It's hard. It's hard to do it so that you're always successful. But the teachers had a sensitivity to it that I found pleasant. I visit schools sometimes where teachers say, well, they just got to toughen up. If you don't like it, you have to get left out sometimes. That's life. Yeah, so you don't have to learn it at 2. Maybe we could make you a little sensitive. Thank you all so much. I have a few copies. I don't have many, but I have a few copies, probably enough for each family to take one, of a guide for parents that was done at YU. It is on the website, so if you don't get a copy, and it's just so hard to navigate the YU website, if you find Azrieli Graduate School and find the school-university partnership and find publications, it's there. But there are copies here if you want. Thank you all so much. Have a great night.